That's Antony's drowning sound.
Like drowning Stewart.
All right, drowning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back here before and after the movies podcast, episode 7. Today's movie will be Underwater.
You don't sound super enthusiastic.
I am not. Actually, my first question for you off the hop here is on a scale of 1 to 10. How excited are you to see this movie?
It's a rainy Sunday. I'm down for a cozy afternoon matinee. I'm at a solid 6, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm like a 4 or 5.
Yeah, you're a 4.
I feel like I'm getting dragged to this.
Yeah. It's pulling me under. Yeah, I feel like we kind of missed the Cats train.
Yeah.
We missed the Irishman.
Yeah, we're kind of in that like between phase, early January.
Early Jan. Good. A lot of questionable movies coming out, but sometimes there's a few diamonds in the rough. I think Don't Breathe.
Oh, yeah. You were big on that one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. Yeah, we tend to get a lot of these movies that are kind of, claustrophobic thrillers, sort of horror movies from up-and-coming directors with that one big name attached. It seems like January is kind of that period.
Yeah, so let's see what we can do. We're not expecting big things, but, maybe we'll get I think Get Out was in January.
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
right.
So,
and I think it's interesting. I mean, this looks like it doesn't reek of like a terrible movie. You see those trailers those horror trailers, you're like, that's just going to be awful.
Yeah, cringy and dumb. This looks like it's got some, it kind of gives off like that 10 Cloverfield Lane kind of vibe. So.
And I think a lot of these movies have started to migrate to like streaming platforms. But I feel like this one being underwater, the theme being really deep, like I think it works for a movie theater. With that sort of.
I mean, I'm kind of nervous for that. Like dark shaky cam aspect.
You're not a huge scary movie guy in general. Why is that?
Well, I always break it down, whereas I can deal with aliens and monsters. I think I'm okay with that. But when it comes to ghosts and paranormal, that really gets me because you never know. You never know, right?
I think we are dealing with more of the stuff that's not too bad for you in this movie.
Yeah,
I don't think we're getting paranormal here.
No, I think we're getting some sort of creature or something.
But we'll get into that.
So without further ado here, Underwater, directed by William Eubank.
Yeah, I was checking out his filmography. Nothing
stood out
really
to me,
of note. There was a movie called Love that I'd never heard of.
And there's some sci-fi movie I saw there.
Yeah, so this is a big opportunity for him to put himself on the map. You do one good movie straight in the MCU. So.
That's true. Look at, not MCU, but I think Gareth Edwards did, Monsters? Taika
Waititi.
Yeah.
Even Rian Johnson did Looper, and that worked out okay for him. So
starring Kristen Stewart. She's getting pretty big now.
That's another. She's on a big comeback, career comeback. Snow White kind of kept her down for a bit.
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, and she's got this. And what's the other movie she did recently?
She did that critically acclaimed movie, Shoplifter, or something like that.
Like her and Robert Pattinson are both kind of having this big resurgence right now, and I'm down. I like her look in this movie. The shaved head. Yeah. A lot of Alien influence.
Yeah.
That's a question I got for you. Like, obviously, Alien in terms of the claustrophobic thriller against a monster. I mean, it's impossible for this movie not to be compared to Alien. You got the crew, each of them getting their own kind of futuristic ship. So I'll be looking out for that for any references that we may get to the Alien franchise.
That'd be good. Yeah. We have T.J. Miller.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he got Me Too'd.
Did he?
Something
like a mild Me Too'd.
But hey, Me Too is still a Me Too. Okay.
Okay, so before we get into some of our fast questions here, I wanted to give you. I want to paint my opening scene here.
Before the fast questions?
I really think I've got the opening scene.
Okay,
I know what it's going to be.
Sing me the jingle before you do it then.
Okay. Paint me that opening scene. It's creepier.
Creepy, yeah, okay.
All right.
Go for it.
We open on dark, murky water, as you can imagine. The ominous music's going. It's like the titles come up. The bubbles start skirting across the screen.
Oh, okay.
You're thinking, oh my God, I'm in the deep, dark depths of the ocean. This is really scary. The camera's rising above the water to reveal a rubber duck. And Kristen Stewart's actually just bathing her young child.
She's got a child now. Okay.
Yeah. So that's like the little fake out to get you going.
Yeah.
It's like in Jurassic World when the egg was actually or it was like a pterodactyl like fake out. Do you remember?
Vaguely.
Yeah. It was like, oh, this is so scary, but it was actually just like a regular bird or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to get like a little fake out.
A fake out? Okay. My opening scene goes a little different.
All right. As always.
It's you cut to like a large industrial plant, chemical plant, and they're just dumping waste into the ocean.
Okay.
And the CEO's like, don't worry about it.
It'll be fine.
Exactly.
Then, bubbling pink liquid.
Exactly. Then we cut to present day.
You always go for like the first thought, eh? Like
first thing that comes to my mind is always the most simple, right?
Open on industrial plant. Some nerdy scientist is warning them not to do it.
Hey, I don't think this is a good idea.
Hey, toe the line.
Hey, glasses, shut up.
We're gonna make twice as much money doing this. 4,000 miles off the Bolivian shore. I don't know if that's got that or not, but
we'll go with it.
Okay.
All right, Auntie, you ready for my fast questions?
Hit me with the fast questions.
Fast questions. Here we go. Question number 1.
Go for it.
How does T.J. Miller die?
T.J. Miller's head is ripped off.
Ooh.
From like he's going down a tunnel and he's like, wait, and then like some like big claw comes down and just rips his head off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
like
that.
Earlier than you think.
Yeah,
as well.
not like an emotional death, just like a quick.
Yeah, really sudden jump scare death.
Okay. How much screen time does the monster get?
Well, my theory is we're not looking at a monster here.
Oh.
So, but I think we're looking at like maybe 10 minutes of actual screen time.
Question 3. In the final act, will there be a bigger monster to be revealed? That's just the baby.
I'm going to say no.
Okay.
I think that we're dealing with celestial beings, and I have a little theory here. I don't think it's monsters. I think it's actually aliens. Okay, so my fast questions are, name 3 claustrophobic thrillers aside from Alien.
Crawl.
Yep.
Can I say 10 Cloverfield Lane again?
Yep.
And Buried.
I knew you were going to say Buried. I fucking love that movie. If anyone's not seen Buried, check that out.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. 4 TJ Miller movies.
Wow. Deadpool.
Yeah.
Office Christmas Party.
Yep.
Yogi Bear.
Yeah. He was like the sheriff, right?
And Transformers, one of them, the fourth one.
I think Age of Extinction. Age of Extinction. Yeah. I would have also accepted She's Out of My League.
Oh, yeah.
Name 1 other actor in this movie aside from Kristen Stewart and TJ Miller.
Oh, Vincent Cassel.
Wow, I did not have the answer to that. Finally, will this movie have a rating above a 6? Is there any chance?
No. I really don't think so.
Fair enough. Those are my fast questions.
All right. Let's get into some predictions here.
All right.
I got one here. Prediction number 1. The captain of the ship or the sub knows the true reason for the mission.
Yep.
So we're not just gathering samples. There was a blip or something. You know, he knows there's something there.
We've been sanctioned by the government to go down here, and he's putting a mask over everyone's head.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God, yes. Give me one.
I can easily go with that. I think we're gonna get a very boring minor character is somehow the second last person to survive alongside Kristen Stewart, and all of a sudden their significance just becomes inexplicably huge.
I like that one. I got here. Someone in the surviving group is going to drown unrelated to the monster's actions. It's going to be like a really shitty death. Super avoidable.
Just like a really a lapse of judgment.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe like even before the monsters make themselves like relevant.
Yeah.
They're all grieving already over Max. I've got here, I kind of already touched on this. Kristen Stewart has a child at home that she wants to get back to.
Okay.
She's FaceTiming him at the start. Like, hey, baby.
Okay.
I think I'm cutting out here.
Okay, I could see it, but I'm going to disagree with that
Fair
one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, hit me with another one.
They're going to discover a nest with a bunch of monster eggs, and they're going to have to go back and destroy the nest.
Could totally see that.
Yeah.
I'm going to say awkward scene where TJ Miller and Kristen Stewart are facing imminent death, and TJ Miller talks about why he professes that he has a big crush on her.
Fucking TJ Miller.
Yeah.
She got her trapped underwater. Of course he's going to do it.
I still do. So there's that. Something like that.
Well, that was a good TJ Miller impression.
There's that.
I got one. There's going to be a line about character is going to be like, the ancient Mayans spoke of a beast which protected the oceans. And there's going to be a very blatant climate change tie-in.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
I see. So a little bit of a second agenda with this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
I could totally see that. That would be kind of disappointing if that's all that it amounted to.
It might even be a bit on the nose.
Yeah.
We keep overfishing, and eventually the fish are going to fight back or something like that.
Wow. I think you're really onto something there. This is kind of an out of left field one. Mm-hmm. Do you think there's any way we could be looking at a tie-in to another franchise? Like maybe this is a disguised Cloverfield movie?
I don't know. I could see it. I never saw, what was it, the
Cloverfield Paradox.
Yeah, is that one any good?
It was worth watching. It's really confusing. It's like, you know how Lost just throws you out a bunch of like humdingers that never come back? Like there's some weird cloning stuff in that movie that's just really ignored. But I elected not to look at the studios of the two movies because I don't really want to know. And I haven't seen anything about this movie. But
I'm going to sit there, Bad Robot's going to pop up on the first
Oh my God. But it just feels very Cloverfield to me.
It does, yeah. But part of me thinks they're just trying to cash in on that. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a post-credit, like...
Yeah, they're trying to set up their own franchise.
2006 or something. Like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the other theory is, like, could this be a part of a... You know, this is the one little corner of this universe that we're learning about, but there's other events we'll learn about in other movies that cause the events of this movie.
Oh, okay, yeah. Do you think we'll get...
above water.
Yeah, so do you think we'll get, like, a post-credit sequence then?
I think we'll get like a very open-ended ending, like a cliffhanger ending, but I think that'll all be encompassed within the actual runtime of the movie. I don't think there'll be a post-credit sequence, no. I think we'll get like a weird like happy song as the credits.
Okay, yeah.
Hands in my pocket.
I reckon this movie is going to end with like Kristen Stewart coming to the surface.
Yeah. But just being all calm and tranquil, tropical waters.
Do you think we'll get a scene after that where she's not like in the water and she's like kind of back at home, that kind of thing, watching the news on TV? Or do you think it's going to end with her surfacing?
More earthquakes have been happening over the Guatemala.
I got to go back.
Yeah. I think we'll end with her getting to the surface, like with her last like tiny bit of oxygen. And it's just that classic ending to the horror movie where for like 2 minutes everything's really nice. Oh, we're good. Like it's really nice. And then some emergency, a fisherman finds her, and then he says something that makes her realize that like, oh, there's more to this. He works for the agency that made them go down there or something.
Yeah. Where he's like, the boys have been catching bigger and bigger fish lately. We found this weird tentacle.
Just see gills on the side of his neck. Come with me. Yeah, I think he works for the company, and he's like, oh, let me grab you a hoop, a lifesaver. As you see his bag, there's like a rifle in there or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then you just see them going off together.
Like Paradigm Incorporated or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. Yeah.
And this is my big prediction here.
I love it. I can't wait for this.
Yeah. I think the creatures are actually an alien race who have taken refuge on Earth. Because there's a bigger, badder like tribe or species in their planet that's like been hunting them.
Okay.
So like they're actually like they're portrayed as like villainous the whole movie, but really they're just like scared and innocent creatures.
Okay. I mean, I think you're giving this movie a bigger budget and a lot more credit than what you're gonna get, but
we'll see. I think that they're just not gonna be like evil. Because in that one, you see like a little preview of one in the trailer, like really briefly, and it doesn't look very like amphibious to me. It looks kind of alien-y.
It looks kind of like a sheet. Looks like a sheet
like
underwater.
A bed sheet?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
Or like a plastic bag.
No, I saw like a face, like a green face.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a very alien. Maybe I just completely missaw it, but we realized that from our perspective, these humans are these innocent people. But like kind of like how you said with the global warming thing, I think really from their perspective, like we're the attackers and they're living peacefully or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Just because the movie or the trailer starts with they're like
fish are friends.
Not food. They're like drilling down, so it's kind of like this whole disruption of the earth kind of thing.
Which is major Cloverfield vibes. Like that's how the Cloverfield monster like.
Yeah, and that was actually never revealed in the Cloverfield movie.
Yeah, it's just all the expanded universe and research.
So I mean, that'd be kind of cool if this movie ended with the Cloverfield monster.
It'd be so cool.
Yeah,
I would die.
So I got a question here now. Do you think we'll get a clear, bright shot of the monster's size?
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'll go for it.
One, yeah.
I think we'll see. I think well, like I say, I think it's a race. So I think they're about 9 feet tall, kind of like hunched over backs.
Okay, yeah.
Dripping.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I'm thinking.
And I got a question here. Like, do you think they'll have any abilities? Like,
I've got that here. I think they have some kind of tech, and I think there's a moment where they're interfering with their communication and mimicking each other's voices.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, come here. I'm in Sector B.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be like turns out they can't see.
Oh, because they got the weakness.
Yeah, they always got that weakness, but they got a heightened
like they got a certain noise they don't like.
Exactly. Oh god. They got a heightened sense, but a dampened other one. It's just like, hey, let's
dampened.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. How many lights flicker out, followed by quivering and heavy breaths? Are we gonna get this movie?
A lot.
Yeah, at least like 8, I would say.
Do you think we're gonna get a lot of jump scares, or you think?
Yeah.
See, I hope they do a lot more tension building.
Yeah, I think we'll get some tension built. Do you think we'll get any fake out scares? Like,
hey, be careful with that drill.
Yeah. I think they have to do one.
Yeah, I think we'll get one.
Or it's like just like a regular fish, like that plops itself on the thing. It's like sucking the window. Do you think there's a fish tank on board with like some like goldfish?
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on, do you, buddy?
We're in your home now.
And they start acting all weird. Their behavior changes.
Hey, what's going on with the fish?
They're all just dead.
Oh, yeah. That should be kind of cool. I got some more questions for you here. Okay. Do you think we'll get a gratuitous exposition scene on the monsters or aliens background?
Yeah, from like the researcher character.
See, the reason is, and then
I was doing a research project back in university.
When you mix this, and then you get this.
I'm down for that. That sounds nice. I like those kind of
scenes. I thought you hate exposition.
I hate exposition, but if they're just literally all sitting around a table talking, then I won't like it. But if they tie it into the plot, like they're on the move, or like the great example is the 2009 Star Trek movie. Mm-hmm. You know when his hands get really inflated with that allergic reaction?
Yeah.
That's when they give all the exposition while they're trying to cure his hands.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so like they're disguising it. They're giving you exposition, but they're coding it with like something going on.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as they do that, that's fine.
So yeah, so to circle back to that question here, would you be okay with this movie if they never addressed the monsters or aliens background? It was just kind of like this thing that they defeat, and then that's it.
I'd like there to be some mystery left over, but I'd like there to be hints, like little things that maybe watch a YouTube video when you get home.
Yeah, like, 10 reasons why underwater is linked to the Cloverfield universe.
Oh, I just really want this to be linked to Cloverfield now.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a couple more for you.
Go for it.
Well, this is kind of generic, but I've got Kristen Stewart will have that moment where she's no longer afraid.
Yeah.
She's like, "Come on, you son of a bitch!"
Yeah, she like turns the lights out or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you want to play? Like, let's.
You want to play in the dark? Let's do it.
Yeah, when she kind of conquers her fear. And then one thing that I'm almost positive, obviously their station's gonna get badly damaged somehow, and it's gonna be in the trailer you see all the water flooding in.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty cool scene.
There's gonna be a moment where they have to the station's gonna be like ripped in half. And they have to go they have to traverse to the other side.
Yeah.
So they have to leave. They have to get in their suits, all suited up. They have to traverse across the station into the other section. And that's when they're in their element. It's completely dark, pitch black.
Yeah.
They got their little headlights and shit. And one of them makes a mistake with the air pressure. Mm-hmm. He's like, "What?" You see his face implode. Yeah. And it's all fucked up.
See, I want some non-monster related deaths.
Yeah.
What kind of budget do you think we're working with? I haven't looked at it.
I'd say probably 40 mil.
Oh, really? Like 20.
No, there's no way.
40 mil. Okay, wasn't this movie...
Let's look up the budget.
So the budget, 80 million.
Wow.
Holy shit.
There's some money behind this thing. When was it shot?
Isn't this movie... I swear this movie was shelved for 3 years.
Ooh. I don't know. I hope not. I always get really nervous about that because it's why didn't anyone want to pick it up or distribute it?
I'm actually quite sure it was.
Oh, that just made me so much less excited. 3 years I find very hard to believe.
Principal production finished in May 2017 for this film. So we're about
2.5 years of post, right?
Oh yeah, 2020 now. Jesus.
Yeah, early 2020. So usually, it wouldn't be uncommon for it to come a year after finish filming, but that's not too bad.
Due to the Disney purchase of 20th Century Fox, the release date was... Yeah, it wasn't delayed for reshoots or anything. It was just kind of what are we
going to do with this movie?
Where does it fit got lost in the Disney purchase. So
I was going to mention that. So it seems like even though Disney have absorbed 20th Century Fox, I'm still seeing their studio logo being used on everything they shot before they were purchased. Do you think they'll keep the 20th Century Fox brand for movies that aren't super Disney-esque, these kind of movies, obviously, thrillers and stuff? Or do you think they'll just stop making all those types of movies and only Universal and Warner Brothers will make these kind of movies?
Yeah, that's tough to say. I mean, if they were smart, they would kind of keep 20th Century Fox and kind of keep that...
Yeah, because it's so iconic,
that low budget kind of thing going.
Because New Mutants is another good example of that.
Yeah, and apparently the director is very happy with it. He said I fought and I got my vision. It's gonna be pretty scary.
Yeah, because that is coming on 3 years ago now. Mm-hmm. But props to Disney for not just abandoning it.
I'm sure they're we'll get this over with and then we can do a soft restart. Oh, I got one last thing here.
Sure.
So from what I can gather, the majority of the scenes are going to take place in this kind of dark, cramped underwater feel. But I really wouldn't hate like a couple clear open water shots, large scale, where you can kind of see what's going on. Like I respect the theme and the tone that they're going to try and go for.
Like how do you do that so far below the surface though?
Like flare guns or something like that. Just like because I mean the ocean is massive, so you could just blow it up.
Are you thinking of a moment where they fire a flare and you see the illumination of like an army of these things?
Oh, dude, I'd be down for that.
That's kind of like, what was that? Those in Aquaman, that place they go to.
That was a cool scene.
Yeah. Apparently they're making a spin-off. Anyway, we'll do that another time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I don't think there's too much to predict. It's a bit of a smaller film.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I mean, we called out. Hopefully, we land a few of those tropes that we called out.
Yeah.
So.
Did you see Crawl by any chance?
Not yet. No, I know you're big on Crawl.
Yeah, I was huge on Crawl. So if this movie can be up there with the Don't Crawls and the Don't Crawl, Crawl and Don't Breathe, then I'd be pretty satisfied. I'm not
hating this movie. I'm gonna go in like, hey, like entertain me.
We love these kind of this is what we live for, right? These
exactly.
Just not every movie can be either Endgame or 1917.
Mm-hmm.
You need these kind of mid-tier movies to like keep you entertained and hopefully be one that you can see on Netflix in a couple years. Like, let's throw it on. I like this movie.
Oh, I heard this movie was pretty good.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to go check out Underwater,
and
we'll be back in 3, 2...
And we're back.
We're back.
We just finished our showing of Underwater.
Yep, Underwater.
Antony and I have not discussed this at all together.
No, not a word.
So, do you want to do out of 10s, or do you want to kind of dive into it a little bit?
I'd like to dive into our ratings real quick.
Okay.
Just maybe say them at the same time.
Okay, hold on. I haven't really given this one. Okay.
Right.
3, 2, 1, 5. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was pretty bad.
Yeah, it was very average.
I've got here, for a movie called Underwater, very little depth.
Nice. Yeah,
Thanks.
paper thin.
Yeah.
Not a pun.
Yeah. Let's dive into this.
You want to do predictions really quick? Get those out of the way?
I got quite a few things I just want to say about the movie, but yeah, let's talk about the predictions first.
So, spoiler alert moving forward here.
Yeah, of course.
So you fucking nailed. Someone's going to die from like their chute's going to pressurize or something like that. Like it happened.
The creature was dragging.
No, the first one. The first death.
Oh, the accidental death. Yeah.
And the guy just kind of like blew up or something.
Just imploded, yeah.
Yeah. We had a bigger monster revealed.
Yeah, you nailed that for sure. In terms of other ones, kind of right about a minor character kind of somehow being the second last person to survive.
Yeah, exactly. And had no business surviving.
Yeah, and it kind of ties into just how poor the decision making of and inexplicable the decision making was
of the characters, or
the characters in general. Well, we'll get to the filmmakers, but the characters just, even no matter how severe the danger they're in, they just always have time to like slow everything down and just do a little side task when it's like, a few seconds ago you established that we're talking like imminent death here.
Yeah, it's gonna.
And now we're gonna go save someone else. Like, I'm sorry, but like you just wouldn't do that. It's poor leadership.
It's just all right. And he's got some choice words for the captain there.
Yeah,
Captain Lucine, I believe.
And just the whole team. And okay, let's get through the predictions. But I want to let.
You're just aching to let your review loose, and that's okay.
Definitely.
I mean, that's about as far as we go for predictions here. We had the larger monster.
No big tie-ins to other franchises. Just some copying.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into the review.
I guess the last prediction that we can mention is we were kind of expecting to see some mythology or some explanation of what these creatures were, like whether that was aliens, amphibians. But it really didn't go into it at all.
Yeah, and that would be my first kind of critique here, actually. I can respect the choice for just showing a monster and not talking about it at all.
Right, not learning about it.
Exactly, but it would have made for a much, much better movie if we had learned throughout the way about this monster, what it kind of means, what it represents, something like that to keep me, keep me invested, because moving from point A to point B and trying to survive this was not keeping me intrigued.
Yeah, especially when you're not going to make use of the unique location that you have. It just felt like running down hallways, I don't know if we talked about Crawl earlier, but that movie has some really creative ways of making the absolute most of the environment. How can we, we're going to do the basement and all the challenges that come with that. Then we rise up to the main floor and there's a whole new set of challenges. And finally the roof.
I got to watch this fucking movie.
Yeah. So where this just felt like, we went to 3 different stations and it would kind of announce their names every time. Yeah. They all felt identical.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
And there was just no real, and I hate to say this, but just no originality.
Yeah, I mean,
it felt like a carbon copy of 10 other movies.
It kind of felt like a made-for-TV movie as well.
Yeah, just with a better cast. Yeah. Kind of getting onto the cast here. Kristen Stewart, I'm a fan of, but she felt so uncomfortable in this role.
Yeah, I mean, I thought she was all right. Like, it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't cringy.
She had some decent moments, but I just didn't really buy her character. I don't know what her skill set was.
She's a hacker, but she wasn't. She made that very clear.
Yeah, you learn so little about the characters. But not in an artistic way. It's more just lazy.
Yeah, and it's just like
where the difference is, I don't know, but felt really
it relies too heavily on its, I guess, visuals and plot, I guess, if you can call it a plot.
Yeah, another big issue for me was just the editing, and I know every movie has a lot of deleted scenes, and to me it felt like they would build tension quite well in certain scenes, like when you have T.J. Miller going out for the first time, and then you're building to this big moment. And then you just cut to him being back inside. Yeah. And it almost felt like they had to cut that scene.
When he shot the gun and then they're back in and they've captured the thing.
Yeah, you guys put all this work into building a building and then you just deflate it instantly. Yeah. And it did that a couple times. And another big point just to get onto right away is the scares. It did a good job of building suspense and building tension, but every single jump scare was a generic, high-pitched, paranormal scream sound accompanied with either a fin slapping body. A thing, a dead face. It's just annoying after a while.
Well, that first jump scare really got me, though.
Yeah, because it took a while before it gave you a big scare. It was the dead body, right? When they're crawling through
that was actually a pretty.
That was another example. They're crawling through this super tight tunnel, tension,
and then they make it through.
Because they established that it's really tight. Yeah. Kristen Stewart's really small, and T.J. Miller's really big. Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I'm a big guy. I don't know if I can get through this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. They're gonna have this great moment where he can't go any further, so she has to maybe get to the end and then pull him through." Okay. And you'd have this moment where he's in pain and they're ripping him and pulling and cut. They're all out.
Yeah. Because it even looked like that tunnel, from what I saw, it kind of looked like a dead end. So I was like, where are they going with this?
They had me there. Yeah. And I was like, this is going to be a really cool movie. And
and that tunnel sequence was actually pretty good. Like, I felt very uncomfortable, very claustrophobic watching that. I was like, oh, I don't like this feeling right now.
And that's the whole goal.
But then they moved immediately away from that.
Yeah, they let off the gas and let you free. Yeah. Like, I kind of liked being choked there.
Yeah. And he's a bit of a kink. Things you like, things you enjoyed.
Yeah, as I said, I liked the death scenes for the most part were well done. The sudden pressure change because you see his helmet crack, and I was like, oh, I'd hate to be him. Just knowing that you're already so scared, and you've been assured everything's gonna be fine. The second you get in, his fishbowl starts cracking. And then he's just dead instantly. T.J. Miller's death, I thought, was pretty well done.
That was good, yeah.
The head just fills up with blood.
Yeah, that was good. The captain's death was okay.
I don't even remember how he died.
He
lets himself go.
And then blows up.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty bad. Yeah. And the relationship between Kristen Stewart and the captain it didn't feel real to me at all.
Yeah, I didn't really.
And she just sort of uncovered a few people along the way. Like, they find T.J. Miller, who's buried alive and already cracking jokes. Yeah. He's, you guys didn't come sooner? Or something like that.
T.J. Miller plays the same character, same person every movie.
He's just T.J. Miller.
I think this will be the last we see of T.J. Miller, though.
Well, he was in that Alien movie as well, wasn't he? Oh no, that was Danny McBride.
Yeah, I can see the confusion though.
Yeah, it's just the same kind of do what you do in the Seth Rogen movies, but tone it down a little bit. That's kind of sarcasm. Well, we're not all gonna die.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Yeah.
The suits had a cool design.
Yeah, the suits were decent. Kind of that Endgame astronaut vibe. I feel like the concept meetings are like, do this, but not quite the same.
Yeah, do this, but a little bit bulkier.
Yeah. And like I was kind of saying, I feel like the crew and the sets, they were ready. Like, those were top notch, and the cinematography was really good. It felt to me it was more the script and the creativity and like the direction that wasn't really there. Yeah. Because it looked amazing, and you look at movies that have a similar kind of visual style when you talk about horror. Even like The Conjuring or The Conjuring 2. Yeah. And even though it's really simple, the script is like so airtight not another pun there. There's a lot of pressure. No,
oh God.
The movies are really airtight, but they look really nice.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get movies that aren't really shot that well due to budget, but the script's so good that it doesn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like a Disturbia or something like that.
Yeah, Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, exactly. And this movie just didn't have the right balance.
Yeah. I mean, I will say like the POV underwater scenes were good. I was pretty scared. I had the scary movie stance going.
Yeah.
But then as soon as something happened, like I was so confused. I couldn't tell what was going on.
A lot of shaky cam.
And it's tough when someone's wearing like a fishbowl kind of mask. You can't really see their face, so you don't know who's who. And like when her and the captain got tangled up,
I didn't really know.
I didn't even know he was with her. I was like,
oh yeah, that's true.
He's
just kind of
hanging
came out of nowhere,
and he's got a knife.
And like they started dragging that dude away, but they just like the creatures didn't kill him. They just left him there, and then they went and got him, and then they attacked him again.
Yeah,
so it's like what are their plan? Like you never really learn what the creatures are trying to do. Are they just?
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of gets. Let's get in kind of the creatures now. The monsters is like
no special abilities.
No, but I mean they were cool design. I thought they were kind of freaky, but I just wanted to know like where they came from. Like you get a line or two about, we shouldn't be drilling this deep, like we shouldn't be here, but it's like why? Like why are we drilling this deep? Are we looking for resources or did we
never
see
learn
something?
anything?
And they should have had a line about that.
And it makes sense because these are the antagonists of the movie, and I know that like if you're doing the man versus, environment or nature, they don't have to have motives per se, but it would have been nice for the creatures to have some kind of ultimate goal. Because was it just to kill them, or like were they trying to destroy the space station? They didn't really seem like they were.
Yeah.
So that really didn't work for me, and I think the worst offense of the entire movie is probably the title sequence and the credit sequence.
And we got to experience that title sequence twice.
Yeah, we did, because we went to a theater that started the movie with all the lights on for like a pitch black subterranean thriller. You couldn't even see what was going on. Took about, 5 minutes? And then some guys like, we're starting the movie again.
And we got to experience that newspaper clippings once more.
Newspaper clipping.
And the newspaper clippings. Like,
so on the nose.
Yeah.
Classified.
Yeah, exactly.
Company assures nothing's wrong.
Company is not allowing survivors to talk.
Yeah. Extremely dangerous.
Yeah.
Volatile environment. The audience members aren't dumb these days.
Yeah.
And it went on forever. It was like, and then the ending did it as well. It was like, 2 survivors not allowed to be interviewed.
Yeah.
Drilling to resume right away.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a reason why they're drilling, and I think they could have explored that just to have us kind of like, oh.
Yeah. And make it all subtextual. You don't need to slap it across us.
But, like, the audience likes to kind of guess along with a film. And there was no like, I wasn't like,
you want to engage with the movie.
Exactly. I wasn't excited to see what happened next. I was like, okay, fuck.
And I didn't bother kind of theorizing because I knew pretty early on, I was like, this is just strictly a survival movie.
You bring up a good point. So I was hoping that it wasn't going to be a strictly survival movie.
But if you're going to do that, then you got to be really creative with the objectives that they have to do.
Yeah, exactly.
It's got to be really unique. Like, oh, fuck, like I feel claustrophobic.
Yeah.
They have to get this.
How do I overcome this? How do I overcome this? But
Yeah.
it was literally just put the suit on, walk. Put the suit on, walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Take the suit off, put the suit back on, and walk.
And that kind of takes us to the third act where, in all honesty, the movie just absolutely fell apart. It capitulated. In that last sort of 5 minutes they finally get to the AirPod room, and it's, yes, a nice green light for the first pod. Yes! And then the second one's like blinking between red and green, and she lies to them about it not working, and then inexplicably she launches the 2 pods, and then you see this like hub display.
Yeah, I have that written down.
Of these creatures that are just, it was like Space Invaders.
Yeah.
You see them going towards.
It was distance to pod, but it had already pre-rendered and like mapped out what the creatures look like, and it's like, oh, we knew about this the entire time, or and then it's like a blast radius to kill.
This is the potential wave, and it misses like the escape pods by like 1 centimeter.
Oh, perfect.
And with like 3 swipes, you can detonate the entire station.
Yeah, exactly.
No password. No override.
Yeah, it even says like core overheat sequence initiated. Like, oh, good, we got self-destruct in here.
And then she has this weird monologue. It was like,
blow this shit up or something.
And it's kind of like, you've drilled into this creature's habitat. Yeah. You've awoken it.
You are the bad guy.
And now you're just going to kill it and be super satisfied about it. It just didn't feel sincere. Like, it's like little things coming off the arms, which again is exactly the same as Cloverfield.
Yeah. So, okay,
it was the old, like, the mother, the killer bee, queen bee thing.
The alpha or whatever.
Ugh, so overdone.
It does kind of feel like this had or maybe early talks to be kind of a Cloverfield tie-in, because the creature looked very similar. And I just have a note here. The captain, they're looking at the map, and they're like, oh, let's go to the Shepherd Station. The captain says, like, that's abandoned, like, no one's been there. But she gets there, and it's clearly not abandoned.
Yeah.
And she looks in her captain's locker, and it's, like, been clearly used. And, like, it kind of lingers on this map, and some ominous music plays.
Okay.
And maybe that was, like, maybe the captain knew about something, and they were trying to chase this Cloverfield thing. But then they abandon that thought process
very
immediately.
Quick, and it goes back to his daughter, because
that was nice.
It was a nice little moment where his daughter had died, and then they try to give her Kristen Stewart that one scene of her past with her fiance.
Yeah.
That didn't feel. I didn't even hear like what happened to him.
He went diving and never surfaced. But it was like they needed that scene so then she could sacrifice herself. She's like, I would do anything for another second, and it's like, oh, okay, this is why you're gonna kill yourself.
And then the relationship that she's sacrificing her life for felt very.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Did he have any lines?
Like, I didn't even know they were together.
Yeah. Yeah, and that the new blood character who's with him, this girl.
Yeah.
I didn't like her. Like, I don't know.
She was not a good.
She was, I guess, her one little moment was when she knew, like, she was like the biologist, I guess.
Mm-hmm. She had a moment with like the little baby monster. She could have been like, "Oh, this is weird. Like, it doesn't have this."
And they never explained it or expanded on it whatsoever.
Like, but then we don't really touch on that anymore.
Their reaction to that is so quick, and they get over it really fast.
Yeah.
So,
I got a question for you here.
Sure.
If you could pick, one, maybe two things, how would you make this a better film?
It's an interesting question. I liked initially. I'm glad that they didn't take like 15, 20 minutes for something to go wrong. It got right into it. It started really fast with the explosion.
Yep.
I think I just would have kept the pace going.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe one option is like, okay, if we're not going to delve too much into the mythology, and we're not going to make this a big character piece with a lot of themes, and we're just going to make it pure survival, let's do something kind of like what 1917 did. And just go full throttle the whole way.
Yeah, they didn't, like, they kept saying danger was imminent, but it didn't feel that way.
No, it didn't feel imminent.
Yeah.
So I would have gone a bit more high concept, I think, and maybe you don't even get to hear the character's name until like, because they've been going and going and going, that there's just been no stop. And I know that's a risk, and you can get the audience to burn out, but trim it down, make it a bit shorter.
It was pretty short.
How long was it? Do you know?
It was an hour and a half. It was like 90 minutes.
Oh man,
it felt fucking long.
Yeah, I would have guessed it was like hour 47.
No, I think it was hour 35.
Oh my god, that's crazy. That's the longest hour and 35 minute I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think something I would have liked or would have changed was there's something should have been revealed. I would have liked like a large scale event or a big twist. Whether it be, like they weren't drilling for minerals, we knew about this, like that kind of thing. Or she kind of mentions in her beginning monologue about how you either are awake or you're dreaming.
Right.
And, the concept of time is kind of lost. Maybe like a psychological thriller aspect would have been nice as well.
Where she's been down there like a lot longer than she feels,
exactly.
Or she's been part of like an experiment or something. Just something that flips her reality around.
And instead of those being creatures, they're like humans that they've experimented on or something like that,
Yeah, just something a bit out there.
Yeah.
Something that risk that you didn't see coming, and it's like, oh wow, that changes how I thought about the first act. Or
exactly.
The characters know things that she doesn't know.
Yeah, let me rewatch this movie from a different lens now that I know this, right?
Yeah.
Instead we get like
A to B.
Yeah, exactly. We get this big monster reveal, but you don't really care. It's like
no, it just felt like a slightly lower budget Pacific Rim.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And even that's a movie where we're not going to go super deep. We're going to give you more backstory on how these things are made, but we're going to go all spectacle. Whereas this was like, we'll give you a little bit of spectacle, we'll give you a little bit of survival.
Exactly.
But no real psychological elements. And I think that's the best point of the episode probably, is this movie needed that extra psychological layer.
Yeah.
Something that happened in her past that was mirroring what was happening today.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe a flashback. I kept thinking, because during the beginning tunnel scene, she's like staring at straight ahead. I thought maybe we'd get like a flashback or like some hallucinations or something. Like what you said, it's very safe. Like they borrowed elements, like you said. They didn't go full throttle one way, and I mean sometimes you have to do that. You got to take the risk. Yeah,
and I guess that probably the biggest offender of this movie is probably the script, because it felt like kind of an early draft.
Yeah.
Like, let's map out a general plot for characters to go on. Once we've got that airtight script, then we'll like add all the subtext and all these interesting elements to it, and those things just weren't there. And
there was no real theme.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what did she learn? What did anyone learn?
Nothing really.
she sacrifices herself for no reason. I feel like it didn't even say that 2 people couldn't go in the pod.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It was pretty spacious.
Yeah, I was like, why wouldn't you just get in there with them?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah. Overall, I just thought it was a really paper thin, pretty weak movie.
Would you recommend this to our listeners?
I would not. Even if I wouldn't even say, oh, check it out on Netflix.
Yeah, not even on a hungover Sunday. You're not going to watch it?
No.
If you wanted something, you'd maybe YouTube the big monster reveal.
Yeah.
If you want to satisfy, because everyone loves a little monster reveal.
Yeah. One quick point on that. What do you think of this weird abundance of Kristen Stewart like running around in her underwear?
Yeah, I thought the director made a good choice. There was no like butt shots, kind of. It was kind of like
there was some butt shots.
There was like kneecaps down, that kind of thing. It wasn't on the nose, very gratuitous, which I respect. Like we
opened the movie with her like in this kind of training bra.
Yeah,
and she's like touching her chest, and there's like that necklace.
Yeah, but they never visited.
I was like, oh, does she have some kind of heart condition?
Yeah, I thought
that would have been a cool element. Like,
yeah, exactly.
And she did it a couple times, and then I think it was just like her like dog tags or something.
Maybe it was a picture of her husband, but we never saw that. The characters were way too one-dimensional to introduce something like that.
Yeah, exactly. It needed more, and like
it was interesting. Like, yeah, she was running around in her underwear for like the whole third act.
Yeah,
but I think they made the right choice by not over-sexualizing that.
Yeah, but then why did they do it? If you're not going to sexualize it, and there's no plot meaning, then just let's not do it. At least Michael Bay's honest about why he does it.
All right, one more time. Let's get the better lighting here.
Yeah, let's get a bit lower, please. So, yeah, I'm sticking with my 4 out of 10. For me, it's a 40% movie. It's a fail.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you're not surprised to see this kind of movie come out in January. Yeah. Especially one that's been delayed for, 2.5 years now.
Exactly. So. This movie doesn't do the January movie curse any favors.
It definitely does not.
But overall, had a good time going. I guess that's it for today.
Yeah, so
hopefully
again,
the next movie's better.
I mean, we still got to slug through January. What are we looking at for our forward releases here? We got
Dr. Dolittle.
I think it's just Dolittle, actually.
Oh, wow. It's edgy.
Yeah.
Next one's called Do.
Less movies. Do less movies like this.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to get through some poor films before we get to No Time to Die coming soon.
Oh, down for that.
Yeah. Okay, so that was Underwater. This has been Antony.
And I'm Aman Johal.
And we'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening.